Now jumping to a major throwback, still probably one of the best days I've ever had in my life. I think it's a really beautiful photo. I think it's also a really edited photo too. It's been a long time since I've done a photography video, so I wanted to go through some of my best photos that I've taken, kind of critique them, give a little backstory of where they're from, and kind of just talk through some of the photos that I've taken. Jumping right into probably one of my most memorable photos that I've ever taken. This place is in Banff National Park in Canada. Seriously, one of the most beautiful places I've ever seen in my entire life. The natural turquoise blue color that comes out of this lake, especially, I think this photo was taken around sunset when the water becomes so still and reflects the mountain in the background. It is just insane. I would recommend anyone to go to this national park. There's so many other beautiful lakes and mountains to see too as well. In this photo, I would say I think I did really well. I do think the contrast was bumped up just like a touch, and I don't know if I would do that now if I was editing the photo. I also think I could have cropped it just a little bit lower, kept a little bit more of the logs on the bottom of the picture in. But overall, I had taken a photo earlier in the day, or a day before this, of the lake, and it was the beautiful blue color, but there was no reflection. So I'm very happy. Timing is crucial at this place. If you want that reflection in the lake, you usually have to go in the morning or the night. This next one is also one of my favorite places in the world, back to back. This is Byron Bay in Australia. This photo right here is actually a fully unedited photo. It was right at sunset, I believe, and if I'm not mistaken, this was a day where I was traveling with my first boyfriend at the time, and we were in Australia, so we were taking the overnight bus, and it was obviously some of the worst sleep that you can get. I remember just getting off the bus at like 5 in the morning, and all of us tourists that were backpacking around the east coast of Australia had no idea where to go. And I remember just like looking up online and seeing that there was a beach like a mile or two away that we could just go to while we wait for a hostel to open up. And my boyfriend and I had just taken our bags, we had walked, and then at the very bottom of this beach, we had just like walked, and I had seen this gorgeous scenery, and it was still probably one of the best days I've ever had in my life. We had set our stuff down, and I had just ran around taking videos and photos for the whole like hour while my boyfriend had just like slept, regained his consciousness, and I was just on cloud nine, like running around, like having so much fun. But then later in the day, we had went and did a hike to the top to see the view from the top down instead of seeing it from the bottom. So we had sunrise at the lower level of the beach, and then we got to see sunset at the top. It was honestly one of the best days ever. Getting back to the main point though, in this photo I would say I like that it's unedited, to be honest. Like, I think the colors are really vibrant already. I didn't really need a bump of the contrast or anything. If anything, it would just be more like the cropping of the photo. Like I said, I didn't change anything with this, but it's still one of my favorite photos that I've ever taken. From that same trip, we actually went to Bali in Indonesia as well. I can't remember the exact location name of this beautiful scenery, but we had taken a ferry boat ride, I want to say, to a neighboring island of Bali, and then some tour company or something, I don't even know how we set this up. We had just met with someone, and then they took us around this island showing us some of the really pretty scenery. In this photo, I think my highlights are a little bright, like around that sea area where it's meeting the beach. You can kind of tell like the whites were just really in your face. I also think the horizon line is a little awkward with it only being like just this tiny bit at the top. Other than that, I think the photo is really cool to look at, but I also think it's a very generic photo. Like, a lot of people, if you were there, you'd be able to get the same exact photo in the same exact spot. So it's not that unique, but at the same time, it does bring me a lot of good memories, and it was a beautiful place to see, and I definitely don't regret going at all. I think in photography, sometimes we get really caught up on the gear that you're using, and you're not thinking just about simple mind. simple-minded things. That's probably what I was trying to say. This photo was when my family and I had done a family trip to Hawaii. I'm like 95% sure that this is just an iPhone photo. The cropping is a little weird. It's a bit more of like a wide shot, but at the same time, I really, really enjoy this kind of like just like snapshot of all these people kind of living their lives and also seeing that gorgeous, gorgeous sunset in the background. I think Hawaii had some of the most insane sunrises and sunsets that I've ever seen in my life. Every time I see this photo though, I'm just kind of transported back to the noises of the beach and the people, and it's just a really warm and inviting photo to me. So you can tell I have a thing for sunsets at this point. I did not mean for these 3 photos to be back to back. This is Positano, Italy, on the Amalfi Coast. That's how you say that, right? Amalfi? I had done a 3-month backpacking trip after I had graduated from high school, taking my gap year, and my family came and met me in Positano, and it was so fun. I still find it really insane how they can build houses like these on such a steep incline. I think this photo right here is another one that I just slightly edited. I only added some contrast to this photo. I can tell I would love to fix the horizon line. It looked a little crooked to me. Also, if I were to retake this photo, I think waiting another like 5 to 10 minutes would have been crucial to get the best coloring. I love the little lights around the houses that are starting to peek out, but I think if it was a little darker, you'd be able to see that light a bit more. Other than that, I think I could have just bumped up the low lighting. The greenery is definitely just a really dark shade, and things kind of get lost in that area. But other than that, I really like this photo. Now jumping to a major throwback. I loved astrophotography when I was probably like 15 or 16. This was my attempt at doing astrophotography at my house, and I actually really like this photo. The only thing I don't like is I can definitely tell it is quite heavily edited to help those colors come through. Obviously that sky color and those stars are out there, but I really remember having to like pull those colors to come out rather than just having an unedited photo that shows this. I live in an area that's not super heavily polluted, but at the same time you can't see this with the naked eye for sure. So it's always really cool to set up your camera, do like a long exposure, and then see what your camera catches. And this was my attempt at doing that. Okay, the last one I'm going to be talking about today is Horseshoe Bend in Page, Arizona. This is, I think, a part of the Grand Canyon National Park. It's just like an hour or 2 north of it. Well, north of the main area. This is another photo that's probably from 2016, so I was probably like 17, and I think it's a really beautiful photo. I think it's also a really edited photo too. As you can tell, like those blues and reds are really rich and deep. When you're there, these reds are even more extreme, I think, than what this photo shows. But at the same time, I can definitely tell I'm doing a little bit of testing with my overexposure, underexposing things, trying to get that contrast to be like punching you in the face, and then maybe almost does a little too much. I think I'm gonna stop here, but if you do want to see any more photos that I've taken throughout my life, regardless of landscapes or portraits, I would love to do another video like this. So if you're interested, let me know in the comments below. Otherwise, I hope you have a great rest of your day today, and I will see you next time. Bye. Oh, a double wave.